As Dr. Figgins mentioned, please make sure you're using the QR code for your sign in and check in, and make sure you do the survey at the end of each session. And ask questions, and this is interactive. So I'm going to turn it over to Dr. Figgins, and we'll get started.
All right, thank you, Miss Corley. Good afternoon, everyone. Okay, so it is week 4, and so we are going to be talking about mastering workplace decorum. So I would like for you to, first of all, place in the chat, like where you currently at. You know, your city, state, and if you've heard of the term of decorum, and if so, do you know what it means? So you are welcome to place that in the chat, or if you want to freely just come off of mute for a few minutes and just let me know if you've ever heard of the term decorum and the word decorum, and if so, what does it mean? So I would love to hear your thoughts before we dive into today's session. And I can't see the chat, so Ms. Corley, you're gonna have to help me out with the chat.
I sure will.
Yeah, I can't see. So would anyone like to share if you've heard of the word decorum before, and if so, what does it mean?
Um, Hello, my name is Jackson Abernathy, and I'm currently in Washington, D.C. I've heard of the word decorum, which basically means like kind of like in a way like manners and like how you should behave in certain settings. Like like if you're like at the dinner table. Like you probably shouldn't be like jumping up and down, running everywhere if you're in a restaurant. But like if you're at the park, then that's okay.
All right, thank you for sharing. Anyone else?
Hi, my name is Dorothea Riggs. I'm originally from Atlanta, but I do live in Houston. What I know decorum to mean is like the standard at which you should like act in certain settings. So just like the last student said, if you're at the dinner table, you should, have manners and have, some type of dining etiquette. And then you would act differently in a social setting than you would in a more professional setting. So just how you should act.
All right. Thank you. Yes, yes. And both of you are correct. It's all about your conduct and how you act in certain places. All right. So I know that more of you all have joined us just now. Please do not forget to scan the QR code so that way you can get credit for today's session, if you haven't done so already. All right. So I'm going to go ahead and get started. Okay, so we're going to be talking about mastering workplace decorum. And just some housekeeping rules. I would love to see your beautiful faces. So if you can, please turn your cameras on if you're able to do so. And also ask questions. You know, I would love for you to ask questions because this is interactive. So please raise your virtual hand. And so that way I will be able to address your question. Please participate because we are here to learn together. So just a little bit about me. I know there may be some of you that's new in joining the overall series that we're providing here, but I am a proud Prairie View alum, and I've also continued my education at University of Phoenix, receiving my doctorate there. And so I have 20 plus years of cumulative experience, ranging from managed healthcare to vocational rehabilitation, education, human resources, so on and so forth. I've worked in the private sector as well as the public sector. Outside of that, I am an author, life coach, entrepreneur, and I am involved in several memberships. So I only listed 2 here, but several memberships as well. So here are your coaches. Many of you already know your coaches. Some of you may not know who your coaches are. Please connect with us. We are here to help you. We're here to serve you in what you may need. So please reach out. If you do not see your major that's listed there, you can reach out to Ms. Jones. So I'm all about building self-confidence. I consider myself that confidence builder. And so when I created my presentation, I was thinking about the word elite kind of came to mind. And so I kind of put together the elite Panther professional. So when we think about the word elite, what does that mean? So that kind of means it's a select group of people, right, that's superior in terms of abilities and qualities to the rest of the group or society. Being an elite person, you are considered like a powerful group of people that's successful. And so here at Prairie View, you are actively working to enhance both your college experience as well as your future employability. And so at Prairie View A&M, you are an elite Panther. So when we think about the word decorum and the word etiquette, they kind of intertwine as well. So I just want to kind of take a look as far as those terms and what that means. So etiquette is more of a formal situation and rules of behavior. So kind of like some of the examples that I think one of the students that volunteered earlier to give an example stated with table manners, right? So think about how we were taught as children, sit up straight at the dinner table, elbows off the table. And so it's all about using proper greeting and knowing how to conduct yourself at a formal event. Decorum, on the other hand, is appropriate behavior. It's all about good taste and respect in any setting. So, an example of decorum would be to maintaining a calm and collective attitude in a tense situation. It could also mean dressing appropriately for a workplace or speaking respectfully to others. And so, what is workplace decorum? So, workplace decorum it's all about being courteous and being in that having a respectful behavior that is expected in a professional work environment. So I underlined expected for a reason, right? Because it's a standard that you should have and how you should conduct yourself in the workplace. So we're gonna take a look into some key aspects. And so the first one is all about respectful communication. So this means being mindful of your body language, avoiding gossip, but also just engaging in good, effective communication. So overall, be cordial. When you go to work, it's good to say good morning or hello. And so this will ease the tension when you walk into a room with people. And it's all about just being respectful and mindful of others at all times. So even if someone does not, respond back to you after you've spoken to them, do not allow their actions to offend you. Also, when we're talking about respectful communication, here are some conversations to avoid. Avoid talking about your salary. Avoid talking about politics and religion. That's very important when you are in a workplace because whoever that person voted for, that's them in their business. Whoever they believe in, that's them in their business. And when it comes to salary, you do not want to discuss salary in a workplace. Um, Moving on, punctuality and time management. This is just all about arriving on time to work. If they say you're supposed to be at work at 8 o'clock, don't show up at 8:30. And when you start work at 8, you're literally doing that, starting work at 8. You're not parking your vehicle at 8 o'clock. You're actually in the workplace. You're ready to work at 8 o'clock. Here is a suggestion. I would say, I know a lot of y'all are already currently in your internship. You're starting your work yet you're starting work, or even if you're not currently working right now, when you do work on your first day, make sure you have the reporting manager's email address and a good contact number. Why do I say that? I say that because if you're running late, if you're sick, if there's a family emergency, you want to let your manager know ahead of time whether you're going to be running late or if you're not going to report to work that day. So that's very important. You want to take accountability and show that leadership of being a responsible adult. Also, appropriate attire. Following the dress code at work, that's extremely important. There are different attires to wear depending on the nature of business on your job. So just maintaining that overall professional appearance. If they say business casual, it's literally that. It's not just casual. It's not coming to work with sweatpants or Crocs or whatever you like to wear that's more relaxing, but it's all about business casual. And there are times on Fridays where companies may have what they call casual Fridays, meaning you can wear your blue jeans, but that does not mean to wear ripped jeans to work. So again, be mindful of that. I know on week one of this series, Miss George kind of talked about your overall branding as a professional. So that's part of professional branding, your attire. Number four, maintaining a clean and organized workspace. Make sure your desk is clean and tidy. Your surroundings. You don't want to have a junky desk where you have papers everywhere or trash everywhere. You want to make sure that your workspace is clean. Number five, respect for personal space. Avoid intruding on colleagues' personal space and invading in their privacy. I'm huge on personal space because, for an example, if someone say, "Oh, you have something in your hair," I don't want them to just reach and grab it. I want them to tell me because that's invading my personal space. So be mindful of that, and also how people interact with you with your personal space as well. Number six, avoiding distractions. Be mindful of noise levels in a shared workspace. So if you work in a cubicle or if you work in a room where it's pretty much like a table and some chairs and you have to share that workspace with three people, be mindful of the noise level. Also, number seven, avoid annoying habits. So this includes, for an example, like chewing gum, like if you pop your gum a lot when you're chewing gum, or strong perfumes or cologne, you want to be mindful of that. Someone may be suffering from allergies, or the popping gum, it may be a distraction to your coworker. And number eight, practicing good hygiene. I think that's pretty much self-explanatory. You want to come to work clean, well-groomed, and having a well-groomed appearance. So why does this matter? It matters because it builds stronger relationships. Being polite and having a respectful behavior, it fosters positive relationships with colleagues and clients. It also improves collaboration. When people feel respected and valued, they're more likely to collaborate effectively. It also enhances professional reputation. So, displaying a good decorum can help build a positive reputation and make a good impression on others. It also creates a positive work environment. So, a workplace with good decorum is more likely to be a pleasant and productive workplace, a productive place to work. And so, creating a positive work environment starts with you. And I'm going to say that again, creating a positive workplace environment, it starts with you. And not only that, it reduces conflict. So, by being mindful of others and respecting their boundaries, it can help prevent conflict. So here are the top four behaviors for bad office decorum. So with these bad office decorums, it can create a negative work environment. It can create a toxic work environment. And so it can also damage professional relationships. So the first one is gossiping. I like to say like gossiping. Because what do people do when they gossip? They whisper, right? Like, girl, let me tell you what happened. Let me tell you what went down in that break room today. So, no, you don't want to get involved in that, right? So, gossiping is just all about spreading rumors and talking negative about other colleagues, which can create a toxic work environment. And so, to be honest, 9 times out of 10, it's gossipers everywhere you go, and especially in the workplace. So, again, be mindful not to get into that. Don't take the bait on that. And so just remember, a person that gossips to you about other people, 9 times out of 10, they're gossiping to other people about you. And that's why I say you don't want to get involved in that. Just remain neutral. Number two, using inappropriate language. Sometimes using offensive language, whether based on gender or race or other characteristics, it can create a hostile work environment and it can also lead to some legal issues. I'll never forget years ago, It was a gentleman, he was in the workplace, and he was jokingly saying like, "Oh, I'm gonna blow up in here, and I'm gonna have a bomb," or something to that extent. And so actually the cops came, and he was like, "What's going on?" And so they actually, kind of took him in because he was making those comments which threatened other people, but he considered himself joking. So again, you have to be mindful what you say in the workplace. Number three, unresponsive to messages, failing to respond promptly to emails and other messages. It can be perceived as unprofessional, and it can also hinder communication and collaboration. And number four, consistently being late to meetings. Avoid being late for meetings because it can show disrespect for other people's time, and it can also disrupt the flow of discussion. Ethical behavior is extremely important when we're talking about workplace decorum, because ethical behavior, it's all about principles and values that guide individuals and organizations in their conduct and decision making. So this includes being honest and fair and respectable and responsible and just having integrity, which can foster a positive and trustworthy work environment. And so having integrity is all about doing what is right at all times, even when no one is watching. And so with ethical behavior, it goes beyond the legal requirements, but it emphasizes a commitment to doing what is right and upholding societal norms. So just remember, if you're in the workplace and if you see someone that has unethical behavior and you feel as if they're always getting away with it, I would not advise for you to follow that same behavior, because just because they've gotten away with it does not mean that you will. And so I also want to talk about conduct as far as with engagement. There are a lot of times where your organization may host offsite events. They may host like employee engagement for team building. This could mean like company picnics. They may have something at a nice resort, holiday parties. All of these are considered offsite employee engagements. And so I want you to be mindful how you conduct yourself outside of the office. Because remember, you're still at work and people are still watching. So, especially like for holiday parties or any type of events where alcohol is being served, they may say, "Hey, it's open bar." And so, although it's open bar, how will you react? Will you have one too many where you're considered overserved? And then, of course, when you have one too many, your behavior is going to begin to change, right? Because you're a little loose, a little comfortable. And so, again, you want to be mindful that you are still in the workplace. I don't care if it's an offsite event. You're still among your coworkers and you're still at work. I'll never forget when there was a holiday party. I was in corporate America at the time, so there was always these holiday parties. And personally, I didn't go because that just wasn't for me. And so I never did go, but Monday morning rolled around, and guess what? Gossiping. A lot of people came back talking about who did what and who had one too many and the way they act at the holiday party. And so, again, you don't want to get caught up in that because at holiday parties, you have the CEO who may be there. You may have your manager, your director, shareholders may be at these events. And so they're watching you. And if you end up engaging in unethical behavior at these holiday parties, you're getting passed up for a promotion. This it's really hindering you, in the future of the company because they may have you in mind to send you off for like a workplace event in another state or even out the country to represent the company. But guess what? You've missed your opportunity because they can't trust you to conduct yourself outside of work. So again, be mindful of that. And so why does all this matters? Representation, it does matter because it is your present and your future. So with your internship or with your new job, or like I say, even if you haven't started yet, when you do start on your job, you are representing yourself, you're representing your family, you're representing Prairie View A&M and beyond. And so your internship experience doesn't just affect your future, but it can influence opportunities for other students at Prairie View. The way you represent yourself and the university, it can either open doors for those who come after you or it can close them. And so employers often base future internship decisions on the performance and professionalism of current interns. So your actions today can shape the path for others tomorrow. So that's why I want you to really keep in mind if you're experiencing your internship, or on your job or when you start your job, because one thing we don't want to hear employers say is, you know what, I'm not going to hire no more students from Prairie View because that student that we had at the internship, they didn't do well because the way they behave, the way they conduct themselves. And so we don't want to hear that. We want you to do a grand job because we want other opportunities for students who are coming behind you. We want those doors to open up for you. And so if there's a mistake that you've made, if you made a mistake, don't beat yourself up. That's what the coaches are here for. We want you to learn from your mistake and move forward. And so again, if there's any questions or any concerns that you're having, please reach out to us. We take pride in helping you as our students. Okay, so now what I would like to do is test your knowledge. There is a quiz that I would like to present to everyone. And so just to kind of test your overall knowledge of what you've learned so far. And so I'll wait till that pops up. Miss Corley or Miss Jones, I don't know if
Excuse me. Would you be able to put the link in the chat, please?
no, it's gonna pop up where you're gonna take it on here. I'm just waiting.
Oh,
Yeah, just hold on 1 second.
yes, ma'am.
Ms. Jones, I don't see her responding.
Oh, okay.
All right. I said just move forward. She must have stepped away.
Okay. Well, let me see if I can
If you can launch it.
okay, give me 1 second.
I think this was really some good tips and good feedback. And I know part of the reason why we're trying to make sure you guys are getting this kind of information is because we want to make sure you guys are showing up well. It's not only for you, as Miss Figgins said, it's also you represent your family, you represent the university, but we also want you to have a great experience over this summer in your internship. And even if you're working on campus or working somewhere else, these are all tips and tools that you can use to help make sure you are showing up well. We talked about personal branding and this is a part of your brand is how you show up. And so doing this well adds a whole lot to your credibility and what people think about who you are and how you're representing. So it's always good to take heed to these things. Um, and if you haven't already checked in, please go through the chat and find one of those earlier. There it is. Test your knowledge. Find one of the.
Did she pull it up or because
No, I
I
just saw
can't?
it get. I just dropped it. I saw it get.
Let's see.
Okay, so if you there in the chat, there's a link. If you click on that link, it'll say take the quiz, and then just go on and do it there.
So Because what I was gonna also suggest is maybe we can do it together. Can you all see the
Okay.
quiz here? Can you all see my screen with the quiz?
Yes.
Okay. So maybe we can take it all together. That way, it's just how many questions? I think it was more than 10. So that may not be good because I think it was 14 questions, but I only had 10 on the on what we had created.
Why don't you go try maybe the first 4, and then we could just go from where? Because
Okay.
and let's put our answers in the chat when she asks us the question, and then we can get a feel.
Okay, so the first one, you invite an out-of-town client to dinner to discuss the work. You should what? Take them to your favorite sports bar that's showing an important game. Take them to an upscale French restaurant with a romantic ambiance. Ask for their preference and pick an appropriate restaurant, or invite the client to your office to eat fast food. Let me see.
All right, we're seeing some answers. Most people are saying C.
C, okay. All right, I'll select
All right.
C. And that is correct.
All right.
All right, next question. Your favorite song is playing on the radio. You A, dance around the office with the music blasting on your speakers. Listen to the music with your headphones at a loud volume so others can hear. C, listen to the music with your headphones at a low volume so as others do not disturb nearby. Or D, listen to the music with noise canceling headphones so you can't hear when others request your attention.
All right. We're getting a lot of C's
C,
again.
okay. All right, that is correct. All right, question 3. Your office culture allows you to keep personal items on your desk and in your cubicle. You A, fill your desk with pictures of family and friends, kids' artwork, favorite knickknacks, and B, balance personal and office items in your cubicle. 1 in 5 objects on your desk can be personal. C, avoid displaying anything other than work-related items on your desk. It is inappropriate to your attention. Or D, your cubicle is a mess of scattered papers, so you do not have any space for personal items.
We're getting a lot of B's.
B, all right. Correct, correct. Okay, number 4, unlike social etiquette, office and business etiquette are primarily based on hierarchy and power, personal relations between coworkers, common sense and courtesy, or A and C. Okay, I see mostly D.
Yep, it's mostly a D.
Okay, that's correct. All right, let's see. Which of the following is not good email etiquette? Keeping your email brief and to the point, putting the purpose of the email in the subject field, sending funny YouTube videos and personal emails to coworkers, or D, using a signature that includes your contact information following your message.
Looks like we're getting C's.
Please, all right. That is correct. It was one question that I wanted to pull up, but I don't know if it will because I think it was at 14. So let's see. Oh, this is a question here. Great. Your boss shows up late to a meeting that is about to conclude. You should A, thank her for stopping by, politely interrupt the person speaking at the meeting, and debrief your boss on the agenda. Or do you B, slightly nod when she enters, but continue with the meeting without bringing her up to speed? C, once the session is over, tell her that it is bad practice to show up late for meetings. Or D, openly criticize your boss about being tardy upon arrival.
Like we're getting some A's and some B's. Looks like more A's.
Okay, so which one do y'all want me to choose?
I say B, but it looks like the majority of the people are saying A, so I say go with the
I
majority.
think it's B.
I think it's B as well, but I see a lot of A's. So let's pick A and see what it says.
All right, let's see. That is correct.
Oh,
It may seem like an excellent opportunity to exploit your boss's weakness, especially if one of them is showing up late for meetings, but ignoring your boss' presence at a meeting or criticizing her will only reflect on your lack of professionalism. On the other hand, be courteous and bringing your superiors up to speed ensures they can count on you in the future. So this was kind of a trick question because earlier this week we had some people that was going for A, some people that was going for B. So this was kind of like a trick question. So I'll go ahead and end it here because this was that was the question that was really kind of tricky there. So thank you all for participating with that. Let's see. Okay, so this is a resource that will be given to you. It's about the 21 do's and don'ts of workplace etiquette. And so that concludes my presentation. So again, if you came in late, be sure to scan the QR code so you can get credit for today's attendance. And the other is the survey QR code, so that way you can provide us with your feedback. So now I'm going to open up the floor for any Q&A or comments that anyone may have. So.
any questions, guys? On the topic or anything that's going on your week or just anything that you may need some assistance with. If you have any questions, come off mute and you can ask your question. Or you can put it in the chat if you'd like to as well.
Hello. My name is Jackson Abernathy. I just kind of had a comment. And just thank you for taking your time out to speak with us on today. It was actually very informational because like I also learned some stuff with like the bringing them up to speed instead of just like staying quiet. And just different things of that nature. And appreciate you taking out the time to teach us.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Yes, ma'am. And also, I back up what Jackson said. So thank you so much for being here for this session and the other sessions. But I guess my thing, going back over the bad office decorum, the number three, like with not replying effectively to coworkers. So I feel like I have that weakness, not replying back, not replying to emails. So I'm guessing my question is like, what in order to like lessen that, it would just be replying right away after I receive an email, or I guess what methods do you use when you have like a lot of emails backed up?
Well, I mean, don't allow it to go beyond a day. So what I mean by consistently being late is like if it's 3 or 4 days or a week or 2 weeks and you're just not responding, that's kind of like a bad sign. But I understand there may be a day where you just have too many emails and you can't respond that particular day. So try to get to it the next day, the next business day, before close of business. And that way, you're not really considered as late. So, Ms. Corley, I don't know if you want to add anything
No,
there.
I think you handled that very well. It's just what if someone needed a response from you in order to act on something that needed to be done tomorrow. So if you don't respond until tomorrow, you're not allowing them the opportunity to complete that task. And so just be mindful of that, because if it were you, you'd want the same courtesy. So I just think about it, do as unto others as I would have them to do unto me. And so responding timely allows people to continue to move forward in whatever they're trying to do. So just think about it from that perspective.
Yeah.
Does that
And,
make sense?
Yes, ma'am. Thank you, Ms. Corey. Thank you.
Okay.
and I was going to say also, if the email is marked as high importance, that's something pretty urgent, and if they are requesting a response immediately, then yes, do it, as fast as you can, because if it's high importance and if they need something at that time, they do. But otherwise, it can be either at the end of the day or either the next business day.
All right.
All right, anyone else? So let me ask you this, if there's no other questions, because I kind of want to just open up for more discussion. I want to know, what are you seeing in the workplace? Do you see people be having a good decorum or anything like that, or are you seeing someone trying to get my screen back for the codes there? What are you kind of like experiencing in the workplace when we're talking on the topic of office decorum? Are you seeing anyone that's displaying good behavior, bad behavior, or is everything like going well, which we hope, but if there's any concerns or anything that you're kind of observing, would anyone like to share?
My name is Pierre. I can share. I work in the Office of Student Affairs with VP Willis and like Miss DeQueer and Miss Bird, and they always have like good, positive energy when I go in. They greet every morning, and then they come by and they talk to us, so it don't feel like we're kind of useless in a sense, but they make us feel very welcome and stuff. So I think they have really good decorum in the Office of Student Affairs.
Okay. All right. Thank you for your comment. And that's why it's important, when you come in the morning, it's okay to speak to people. Even like even just outside of work. I mean, just make that a daily practice. When you pass somebody in the store or whatever, if, a lot of people, they may see you, they may smile or nod. I mean, that's just a courteous way of just having good decorum. Even on campus, when I tend to walk on campus and, I notice like, some students, they don't speak to each other and they don't greet each other, but start kind of getting into that habit, because again, you don't know what people are going through, and just a nice smile or a nice gesture or just a hello or simple hello, I mean, that can ease the tension. So it's always good to practice that.
Very good feedback. And to go back to Dr. Figgins' question to you guys, have any of you experienced someone what you would consider acting inappropriately and you noticed it, and are willing to share anything like that? Not necessarily you, but if you experienced that. Okay. Audrey, would you share?
Yes. Um, you know, student, some employers, teachers, you know, they think because they're the teacher and like we're the student, they can like talk to us anyhow, abuse us anyhow, and that's not really right. You don't get paid to abuse your students or talk to them unfairly. You get paid to teach them, rather them an education. So like if you're not doing that, like why are you a teacher? Why are you like working at a education institution? And some students feel that way every single day.
And so that is that's sad to know that we have that, but I'm not minimizing the fact that I know it happens. And but when you think about what you're experiencing, what you've seen, that shouldn't even make you be more conscious of the fact that you don't want to do that. And so that's what Dr. Figgins is saying, is you don't want to be that person. And so make sure you're not that person when you go into the workplace. And and express yourself. So thank you for sharing that. I appreciate it.
You're welcome.
All right. Any other questions or comments from anyone?
Yeah, so I guess I just have another question. So I guess as us being in internships or being new to a job site, I guess what if the company already have like their own relationships within the employees that were already there, and then you come in and you see that the environment is not like welcoming, or does not tell you good morning or acknowledge your presence, but like I guess not belittle you, but I guess in that type of concept. So I guess what would be the proper way of letting yourself be present but also like not falling into that same depth, but like I guess that's the question.
Well, that's
Mhm.
what I kind of explained earlier. Creating that positive environment starts with you. So, like I say, even if you speak to someone, they don't speak back, don't allow their actions to offend you. Because, like I say, I mean, like I said in a previous session, some people are just mean, some people are just miserable. We don't know what they're going through, whatever. Or they may be used to that toxic work environment, but you want to come in and you just want to be this nice, bubbly person because, again, it's all about professionalism. You're setting the standard, and that's a way of branding yourself. So again, I've worked in some toxic work environments, and I just had to be me. You can only be you at the end of the day, so as long as you're that positive person, don't feed into that, and other people will notice. So I'll give an example. There was one place that I worked for, and I was coming from corporate America, decided to go into the public sector. And so the environment was like people literally came to work. It was as if they just rolled out of bed and came to work. Clothes was wrinkled. I mean, it just wasn't professional. One girl would hot curl her hair in the office. And the only reason why I knew she was hot curling her hair, her door was closed. I could smell the curling eyes. It was like the curling eyes were so old, they was burned. And so I was like, oh my God, what's going on? And so here I am coming in saying, good morning. I'm dressed professionally. And so the manager started to notice. I mean, the manager didn't behave like them, but she was like, after a few weeks, she noticed how they was coming to work. They was dressing up a little bit more. They was taking care of their overall appearance. And so she was like, I think you kind of started something here. But again, it goes to show how you have to set the standard. What did I say earlier? You are the elite. So I believe that everybody on this call, I mean, you are an elite professional. You come from Prairie View, so you are an elite. So again, it's all about that overall professional standard, and it starts with you. So don't take the bait in how the office environment is, because some people do. Some people just follow, like go along to get along. So if they're behaving in a negative manner, they're going to do the same thing. If they see unethical behavior, they're going to behave the same way. But I say no, you change that because you're better than that. So it's just about remaining positive and just going to work, doing what you have to do. So I don't know, Ms. Corley, you want to add something to that?
No, I was very good explanation on how to handle that. The other thing I will add to that though is go in and try to be a part of that group. So if they're going to lunch, say, do you guys mind if I go to lunch with you guys? Or if they're sitting at the table or they're sitting in groups, and go sit in the group with them. So make yourself available to be a part of that group as well. Um, don't, you don't have to let people shut you out. Be a part of it. Create an environment where you can be a part, and eventually, hopefully, they'll start to invite you. Now, there comes a point where if they're continuously excluding you, then you might say, "Okay, I've done my part. I've tried to engage on numerous occasions, and that's not working." Don't make yourself feel bad by not by just continuing to do it for weeks and months at a time. But that's what you should start with. That's you should try to be a part of the group, and that may take some time. So it might take a couple of weeks before they realize, okay, she's really cool. Let's invite her to go out to happy hour with us. Let's go invite her to go to dinner with us as a group. So give them the opportunity to get to know you, is what I would say.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Other questions? Thank you. Who was that? Who asked that question?
I want to say was that Patrice?
Yes, ma'am. Patrice Gatterson.
Okay, thank you. Thanks, Patrice.
Mhm.
All right. Any other questions you guys have? All right.
Okay, well, if there are no other questions, that concludes my presentation, and thank you all for joining us this Saturday afternoon, and hope you all have a great weekend.
So I do have one question. Are the Saturday sessions helpful for you guys? Because we're doing those only because we realize that you guys may be busy during the week. Is this helpful to have something on Saturday?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Yes.
Okay. All right. We just wanted to make sure we're providing the service that's needed. So thank you for that. All right. You guys have a great evening and get great afternoon.
Yes, ma'am. You too.
Bye.
All righty.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye. See you guys next week.
All righty.
Bye.
So next Saturday we won't be here because it's
Oh.
the day after the 4th of July.
Mhm.
So we'll only be doing Monday and Tuesday sessions next week.
Next week. Mhm.
All right, we'll give people a few more minutes to jump off. All right, it's just us. Another good session, Dr. Figgins.